Hong Kong has announced a fresh stimulus package valued at about $18 billion to support businesses devastated by the COVID-19 outbreak. The second round of the so-called anti-epidemic fund would cover businesses that so far have been left out of support measures. Roland Lim tells us more.
Yes, Chief Executive Mrs. Carrie Lam said that unprecedented steps are required to tackle what is an unprecedented challenge for the city, with businesses across all sectors affected by the crisis in one way or another. So this is a bigger than expected relief package that the government is rolling out. Now, many were expecting 100 billion Hong Kong dollars. That's about 13 billion US, not the 17.5 billion announced today. The money that the government is spending or setting aside is equivalent to 5% of Hong Kong's GDP. Now, most of that money will be spent on retaining jobs. The government will be paying 50% of worker salaries for 6 months, with the subsidy of each worker capped at $1,200 per person. Now, this is to ensure that up to 1.5 million workers will continue to get their wages. The monies will be paid to employers in 2 installments. The first of these monies will be arriving in June, and the companies receiving this cash handout will have to pledge not to lay off workers. Now, the move to underwrite wages similar to plans announced previously in the UK as well as Singapore. In addition, the government is also going to be creating some 30,000 short-term jobs over a 12-month period, and 10,000 more civil servants will be hired during the same period too. Subway operator MTRC will cut its fares by 20% starting July. The government is going to be bearing half the losses that this will bring. And good news too for taxpayers. Some 1 million taxpayers will be allowed to defer paying their tax bills for 3 months if they wish to do so. And of course, after much criticisms about her pay rise recently, Chief Executive Carrie Lam has agreed to take a 10% pay cut for the year, which means her salary will now fall from $62,000 a month to $50,000 a month. Her 16 senior ministers are also following her example in a show of solidarity to Hong Kong people. Now, Hong Kong currently sitting on $141 billion of reserves, very large coffers indeed, and market watchers say that the government can easily afford to spend as much as $26 billion to help out businesses and workers.